I'm Shae Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me today is Steve Lowe from GoGold Resources. Steve, how are you?
Doing very well. How are you?
Good, thank you. I'm glad I got that intro right on my third take, not that anybody's going to see the outtakes of this. Listen, I am once again coming to you from the Rural Investment Symposium, and Steve, I have brought you on so we can talk about all the good things about gold and silver. First of all, I'm going to let you kick this off. Let's go over some of those exciting projects that you've got out in Mexico.
That's right. So, our company, we've been in Mexico 28 years. We've built 4 mines in the past. Number 4 is producing in the company now. We've been producing there for 10 years. But what really is driving the value of our company is our development projects, which is Los Ricos. It's in Jalisco State. It's a district scale. There's a north and a south. Both will eventually be mines. The south will be developed first. That's feasibility stage now. That full feasibility will be out by the end of August. That will detail an underground mine and a very wide underground mine with 11-meter average stopes. And I emphasize underground because of what we all know and hear about what's going on in Mexico. So it originally was a 3-year underground mine transitioning to an open pit, and that was the PEA. Now in the feasibility, we've done the trade-off studies, and we had the benefit of being able to also mine this from underground in an economic, beneficial way. So that's all due to come out in the study, and we think that's going to be a very exciting catalyst for the stock this summer because it will differentiate us firmly in the underground mining camp. And that's a good thing to differentiate right now because the questions are about Mexico and mining right now is open pit or not, right? So we can address that later.
Yeah, I would actually like to because it is becoming quite topical in the North American markets and also the Australian markets as well are starting to ask questions about it. But before we get to do that, this is your 4th mine in 28 years. That tells me that you have a team that knows what they're doing.
Correct. Yeah. Out of 300 people that work for us, there's 5 of us that are not Mexican. So, we're very focused on Mexico. We've been there a long time. We love the country. And, there's a lot of great mining guys that came up that are Mexican and got educated in Mexico. It's a very strong industry there, as everyone knows.
Well, this is about benefiting from that local intellectual capital, isn't it? They know what they're doing. They know the region. They know how to make it work.
Yeah.
And you are being able to benefit from this with your 4th mine.
Yes, that's right. And, one of the things that we've really had the strategic advantage of over those years is, we had the ability to get those off the radar assets and buy them from the private families and the private individuals, use our experience in the capital markets to bring the necessary capital to them to get them into production and then ultimately sell them. But, we've been at GoGold now for 12 years, and really with that next mine in production, we'll be up to almost 10 million ounces a year at an all-in sustaining cost of under $10. That's silver production. And then soon as that Los Ricos South is in production, 2 years down the road, 2 years from now, we have a second mine, Los Ricos North, which in and of itself is 8 million ounces a year at around $10 all in sustaining costs. So, if you can look out the next few hills and look at what GoGold's potential is, it's a 15 to 17 million ounce silver producer a year with costs of $10.
What kind of mine life are we talking with those numbers?
We were 10 plus years, feasibility study that we'll be coming out with. The mine life will be a little longer than the current one, which is 10, because it's going to be all underground. So it might stretch out to 12, 14 years, but very long mine lives. And, I know we don't have the time.
And favourable financials as well, with it being a low all-in sustaining cost.
Low in all sustaining costs. We have 80 million US in the bank, and the rest we can finance with debt. So we've got the construction finance, all taken care of, and really all we're waiting on is that permit. And that brings us to permitting in Mexico.
Yes, don't rob me of a moment to ask a question on this. Listen, it's great because you clearly know what you're talking about and can fully outlay the direction the company's taking it in. But it is becoming increasingly topical about what the new government is going to do in Mexico. Right. Obviously, there was the previous government that made maybe it looks like empty threats of not banning open pit mining. What's this new government going to do? Are they going to follow through on these threats or not?
Well, I think, they might have not been just empty threats if he would have had the
It sounds
constitutional capability to change the laws, which he did not have, AMLO,
okay.
right? So he didn't have the supermajority vote in his Congress and Senate to actually change the Constitution, which is what you need to change the mining laws. So this is what has now perhaps changed since the election with Claudia Sheinbaum, where she's got the supermajority in the Congress and she's short 3 seats in the Senate. So the question is, will she be able to, in effect, or will she want to make the changes that AMLO did want? And our view could be that anything would be better than this current,
Yes.
right? So that's a positive. The second, I think, positive is where he would make blanket statements. We believe that she's a PhD, she's very data driven, she likes the numbers, and we think that things will be looked at on a case by case approach. And so what is your involvement with the community? What is your relationship in your local community? What is your water usage? How are you going to impact where you operate? And those things will be what's analyzed in terms of what mining you can do or where you can mine. And I think that while might put some more roadblocks and some more red tape, ultimately, projects will move ahead.
And just dialing it back to where we started today's conversation, you're going to be an underground mine anyway, so you're less impacted by any sort of changes to open pit mining, aren't you?
That's right, and and it's really important to differentiate that. But again, we would even say, we fully believe there'll be open pit mining. We think that, but we think they are going to choose them on a case by case basis.
Now, listen, tell me, silver's had a bit of a rough run the past couple of years, maybe decade, depending on how long you look at it. Is now finally a good time to be in silver?
Well,
I mean, obviously you're biased.
This is the funny thing, silver's at $31 as we're sitting here and we're talking about rough times in silver, right? So, if this isn't the good times, when are the good times? And, this is the thing we always joke about. Now, we all know that silver has traded much higher, but, if you take a step back and you look at a 10-year chart of silver, which is, roughly the last time it was at that $50, you've got a decade of consolidation, which, some would say that, we're very much a coiled spring here, and headed $50 is the next stop, and, perhaps new all-time highs, just like we're seeing in gold.
What a fantastic place to leave today's interview. Listen, I want to thank you so much for being here today, Steve. I thoroughly enjoyed today's conversation, and I look forward to having a drink with you on the cruise tonight.
Thank you very much. Nice to be here.